Hi everyone, it's Betsy here with Easy Peasy, and I wanted to do something a little different, just a fun project that I've been working on lately. I wanted to make some baby quilts for some friends and some family that were due about the same time as me as my baby. My sister-in-law and I actually have the same exact due date, so we were both just waiting for baby to come. We are 39 weeks and 3 days right now. So any day now, we should see this boy and my little niece arrive. So very exciting. And then I have 3 friends that were all due within 8 weeks of each other. I was the last one. So those 2 friends have already delivered. So I wanted to do something. I love doing homemade gifts. I love sewing. I don't have a lot of experience with quilting. I've always just kind of, just gonna do it on a wing and a prayer, watch some YouTube videos. So I chose a really simple pattern because I knew if I didn't, then it would be my due date and I would not have these done. And so I did a very simple pattern. I just want to give you some tips. If you are interested ever in sewing a gift for someone or for your own kid or for anyone, for yourself or for someone else, homemade gifts I think are so meaningful and such like a treasure to be passed down. And none of these kids are the first baby. They are the 3rd or the 4th baby in the family, which means a lot of times they don't have something special that's their own. So it's kind of nice to give them something. So what I did was I chose a very simple pattern. So there's 2 boys and 2 girls in this mix. And I did just strips of fabric. All right, very simple pattern because it saved so much time not having to cut as many small pieces and piece together as many small pieces. So I did strips of fabric. That was the first thing to save time and effort and make it very simple. If you've never done any sewing, you can probably cut straight lines, measure it, cut it, sew them together, okay? So sew it together. I do have a sewing machine. If you don't have a sewing machine, I don't know what to tell you. You can do it by hand. It's gonna take a little longer though. So I did strips and then sewed them together. I had it embroidered with the names, which I think is a really nice touch, especially if it's a very simple design. It just makes it very personal. So, embroidered with their initials or with the name. And then the other thing I did is I got really fun fabric prints, which is the first time I've ever done, like special ordered from Spoonflower or from Etsy, the prints that I found that were really meaningful to them. Not the baby, but to their family and to their parents. So I found this Marian design, and I will link in the description of the video where I got these if you're interested. You can always search on Spoonflower, but I did find some on Etsy as well. But the Marian design, and then this one down here is Pier Georgio Frassati, who is blessed. Is he a saint yet? I think he's blessed. But this is such a cute little boy pattern, I thought, with the mountains and the sun and boots, and it says verso l'alto, if I'm saying that right, in Italian, which means to the top, which is a phrase that's associated with him, always seeking heaven and greater things. And the little backpack. So I ordered those 2 really fun patterns to kind of let them do the work of this quilt instead of the piecing and cutting small squares or shapes and quilting that way. I just did very simple strips, but with really fun prints. So I ordered those 2 prints, and then I just went to Joann's Fabric and picked out some that I thought were good accent colors to those 2 prints once these came in the mail. Spoonflower does take like 3 or 4 weeks to order because they print it for you and then send it in. So be ready for that. So these are the 2 boy ones that I did. And then the girl one is here. And I just love how bright it is. And did the same thing. I ordered this pink Sacred Heart design from someone on Etsy, which I will link in the description as well. And then I went to the fabric store and picked out some, Joann's is always 25% off, 50% off, whatever material. And so picked it out that I thought went really well with it, of course, knowing who it is. So strips together, had it embroidered, chose fun patterns. Those are my tips. And then on the back, just did a flannel. I actually didn't put any batting or anything on the inside because I like the baby's length a little bit thinner. We live in a very hot climate, so the kids wouldn't really use anything very thick. And the other thing is they carry it around and they kind of hold it, and even when they use it on their bed, or if I throw it on the floor, the thinner usually ends up being better. So it's just 1 layer of flannel and then the top layer of the cotton, which actually makes it easier to sew as well. If you're new to sewing, you don't have to worry about sewing the batter. Okay, so those are my tips, and the last tip would be, we just did flannel on the back, I said that. The last tip would be for the binding on the outside. The strip that goes around the outside is called the binding, if you're not familiar with quilting.
I'm really trying with these Legos, but I can't really put this.
So the last tip is with the binding around the outside. I did not hand bind it, which is more of a traditional way of doing it. I also did not sew as far as actual quilting with the machine. I just sewed after it was together. So the top layer of cotton that's been pieced together, the strips with flannel on the back, and then I just sewed down the lines right here to keep it together instead of doing an actual like quilting pattern on the top, which made it go a lot faster. And it was a lot easier, and you can do it with your regular sewing machine foot. You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. And then the binding, don't touch Michael. The binding around the outside, I will show, I will link a YouTube description of how to do the binding on the outside with your machine instead of doing it by hand around the whole outside, which makes it go a lot faster and a lot easier for you. So those are my tips. If you want to try your hand at a very easy quilt, this is beginner. A lot of times I search beginner quilts, and I'm like, is that really beginner? Is that like beginner, like where I am when I started? So if you're interested, this is just a really fun and easy style quilt that I think anyone can do, especially if you have a sewing machine. Fun patterns make all the difference, and embroidering the name. So I hope you give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you're a quilter and what your favorite kind of quilting is to do, and if you're going to try something like this for your baby or for a loved one. Have a great day. Bye.